Have you ever found yourself at a crossroads, facing a choice so heavy it feels like it could break you? Well, today we're going to explore a moment of crisis from an ancient story, a story that holds some really powerful wisdom for the battles we all face in our own lives.
So let's start with a feeling I think we all know, that feeling of being completely and utterly stuck, faced with an impossible choice.
You know that feeling, right? It's a kind of paralysis, where your head and your heart are just at war with each other. The weight of it all feels crushing, because you might know what you're supposed to do, but actually doing it feels impossibly, fundamentally wrong.
Now just try to imagine that for a second. The very people he loves, his teachers, his cousins, his mentors, are all lined up on the other side, ready for battle. His duty, his entire life's training, tells him to fight, but his heart is just shattering at the thought of it.
You can just feel the pain in those words. This isn't just a strategic problem for him. It's a total emotional and moral breakdown. He looks at the prize, the victory, and he doesn't see triumph. He sees a terrible sin, a hollow victory that would cost him everything that truly matters.
So in this moment of absolute crisis, Arjuna turns to his guide, his charioteer, Krishna. But the advice he gets, well, it's not at all what he, or probably any of us, would expect.
See, Krishna doesn't give him a new battle strategy or some kind of pep talk. Instead, he totally reframes the entire problem. He pulls Arjuna's focus away from all the chaos on the outside, on the battlefield, and turns it inward, toward the true nature of who he is. And this is the very first piece of wisdom he shares. It's a radical, game-changing redefinition of who we think we are. And honestly, once you grasp this, it has the power to change, well, everything. To really get what's happening, we have to understand this one core idea. The Atman. Now, this isn't your personality or your job or your memories. The Atman, think of it as the silent, unchanging witness inside you. It's the pure, eternal awareness that is your true essence.
And the distinction between the two is absolutely fundamental. Our bodies, they're born, they change, they grow old, they perish. That's just how it is. But the self, the Atman, it exists completely beyond that cycle. It was never born, and it will never die. It's the one constant in a world where everything else changes.
And here's this beautiful, simple analogy to help us understand. Krishna explains that just as you take off an old, worn-out shirt and put on a new one, the soul does the same with bodies. The essence of who you are remains completely untouched and unharmed by the physical form it happens to be in.
Okay, so if our true self is eternal, that brings up a really big question, doesn't it? How are we supposed to act in this temporary world? This insight actually gives us a whole new way to think about our work, our duties, and our goals.
And here's the practical application of all that deep wisdom. It's a concept called Nishkama karma. What it means is you pour your entire heart and soul into what you do. You perform your role to the absolute best of your ability. But, and this is the most important part, you completely let go of your attachment to what happens next.
It really comes down to a simple three-step process. First, you have to understand your duty, your dharma. This is about knowing your rightful role and responsibility in any situation. Second, you act. You give it everything you've got with total focus and excellence. And third, this is the toughest one, you let go. You release your grip on success or failure. You have a right to your action, but you have no right to the fruits of that action.
So how does all this ancient philosophy actually help us, with our modern battles, the tough decisions we face at work, the conflicts in our relationships, those moments where we feel totally overwhelmed by fear and doubt?
This is really the heart of it all. The paralysis Arjuna felt, it all came from a fear of loss. Losing his family, losing his honor, losing his happiness. But when you start to identify with that eternal self, the Atman, the fear of losing things that are temporary by their very nature, like your reputation, or money, or even your own body, it starts to lose its power over you.
And this is the state of peace it can lead to. Imagine a mind that isn't being constantly blown around by the winds of fear and desire and attachment. It becomes steady, clear, calm. Just like a candle flame burning perfectly still in a place with no wind. It finds its unwavering center. So, let's just quickly recap the big ideas to take with us. First, your true self, the Atman, is eternal and can never be harmed. Second, focus on doing your duty, your dharma, and doing it with excellence. Third, let go of being attached to the results of what you do. It's this powerful shift in perspective that leads to real inner peace and fearless action.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought to ponder. We all have our own battlefields, right? A tough project, a challenging relationship, some personal struggle. So the question this ancient wisdom leaves for us today is this. In the middle of your challenge, how will you find that steady, fearless, unwavering center within yourself?